Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new episode of Grow Up, Level Up, the podcast where we talk to folks about the funny games that helped us grow up and the funny games that we choose to partake in today as adults. So you might notice things are looking a little different and sounding a little different. That's because I'm not at the usual studio. I'm actually in a backyard right now, broadcasting live to Instagram. First time I'm doing this. And the reason is this week, it's a little bit of a special week. Uh, couldn't secure a guest this week. And also, I was sick for the first half of the week, so I wasn't able to work on the podcast. So instead, I reached out on all the socials at SamsonXP and at Grow Up Level Up to ask for questions for and ask me anything, which is what I'm going to do today. Now, like I said, this is not a controlled environment. We are in a backyard. You might hear some bird chirps. You might hear some people in the background, and that's okay. We're just going to try to play along with it. If you are watching live, please enter in some questions as I go. The floor is open for that. And thank you for joining us live and let me know what you think about that. So I have a list of questions already ready to go. And we will get started. So my name is Samson, of course. This is Grow Up Level Up, a podcast where we talk about the games that helped us grow up and the games we choose to partake in today. Today, it's going to be all about me, actually. So the first question I always ask every guest, which is me, is what am I drinking today? So today I actually am bringing back the GOAT, a Coke Zero sugar, 0 calories, feels good, and all that. And if you're just joining live, please enter in a question in the chat. And if you have other questions, DM me and maybe it'll be on the episode next time. Just saying. So anyways, Coke Zero. Cheers. That was very loud. Hope that was okay. So like I said, this is an AMA episode, an Ask Me Anything episode, all about myself. I have some questions here, and let's start with the other question I ask every guest on the show. This one was sent in by Jordan at Sir Dr. JM, who was also a guest on a previous episode of Grow Up, Level Up. He asked, what are my top 3 games? And this is a tough one because, things change. You kind of want to avoid recency bias. You don't know if things are good just because it was nostalgic. But I narrowed it down to 3 games that I think are my top 3 games of all time. My first one is going to be Pokemon Black and White, specifically the first Black and White series, the ones on DS, because that was the 5th generation. That was the one where they kind of soft rebooted Pokemon. And for a second there, I thought it was going to be a transition into a more mature themed Pokemon. It came at an interesting time in my life. I think I was in my late teens as well. So I was kind of ready for something a little deeper, a little more meaningful. So in Pokemon Black and White on DS, what they did was they actually didn't have any of the old Pokemon in the region. And what that allowed was like every Pokemon that I saw was new. I think at that time, the internet was still like just becoming leaks all the time and YouTube React content. It wasn't there yet. So a lot of the Pokemon I saw for the first time in the game, and that like I said, it came at a time where I was ready to become more mature, but really I felt like a kid again, discovering all these new monsters and all that. So Pokemon Black and White on my top 3, not sure which one. Number 2 is probably Overwatch. Hey Kim, welcome. Overwatch is a very special game because I just think the action of it is stimulating enough that I find it engaging. I also find that in Overwatch, there is a lot of things to think about and a very high skill ceiling. Of course, it has its flaws. Of course, it is tricky to play and confusing when you don't know what's going on. But I think the gameplay plus the world, and I'll get to that in a second, make that game really special to me, along with like the sounds and the characters. Hey, Dayton, welcome. Official Dane Kale, another guest on the show. Hey, Kim again, in case you missed that, welcome. So Overwatch, and I think I know one of the reasons why I really like it is because one of the main taglines in the original one was the world could always use more heroes. And I know like I'm not perfect, nobody's perfect, But I think if your tagline for your product or your game is that we can always strive to be better, I think that's really special. I think they came out with another uh, video out. Man, now I can't remember off the top of my head, but a character, Aurora, said that you are given this life, do well. And I'm just like, whoa, like you're given one life, make good choices, make good decisions, and do well. So I thought that was very meaningful. So the writers on the game, like really inspirational. It gets me teary eyed every time. Plus, along with the community of Overwatch and the diversity, not just of the game, but of the community, is something that I really treasure and I don't see too much in other games. Of course, I'm not involved in a whole bunch of other communities, but in that game specifically, in the action superhero team-based genre, I'm happy Overwatch exists to serve that purpose, to be a community that welcomes diverse people and diverse folks. Okay. So my third top three game, also very tricky. I'll have to stew in it. I'm gonna cheat a bit, and I'm gonna quickly live on the show look up a list of my top something games to play before I die. While I do this, how's everyone on the live stream doing? We have about 4 viewers now. Welcome, everybody. Thanks, Daniel, Kim, Nat, and Dayton for supporting me. Um, how are you doing today? Okay, I found it. So I have a list on my phone called Samson's Video Games to Play Before You Die list. I have a bunch of games on here. I just kind of add in games as I go. Um, I'll say two runner-ups. Doing good, says Kim. Thank you. Thanks for answering. Thanks for watching. If you are missing this or watching this live, you'll be able to catch the replay on podcast services and YouTube maybe later tonight or tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that. So my two runner-ups, probably Marvel Snap. I've been playing that game every day for almost a year. I love the art, of course, and the characters from Marvel, learning about new characters from Marvel. I love the fast gameplay. I like the creator, Ben Brode, as well. I'm a big fan of his work from Hearthstone and now Marvel Snap. So really big fan of Marvel Snap. I don't want to put it in my top 3 yet because the game has been changing every couple months. So far, so good, but there's always, with these live service games, there's always a chance that it kind of goes downwards. But I'm very optimistic about Marvel Snap. Another one that I've kind of fallen off of is Pokemon Go. I think they have something extremely special. I know that's 2 Pokemon entries, but Pokemon Go is different. 2 entries of Pokemon. Pokemon Go really got me out and about and exploring and meeting a new community. I think that was the first time I honestly realized that like gaming communities can exist outside of the chat boxes and Discords and NFL, MSN. Nerf Loki. Yeah, Loki is too annoying in Marvel Snap right now. And let's see. My third top 3 game, I think it will have to be honestly, oh my god. Oh, anybody see that? There was a hummingbird that just flew up to the table. I'm not sure if the camera got that. What the heck? That was very distracting. So so a hummingbird just flew up to the table. I would say the third game that I would recommend everybody play, and I'll say I'm allowed to change this anytime I want. The third one will probably have to be. This is so hard. So hard. Okay, I gotta make a choice. It's gonna be Ghost Trick on the Nintendo DS, and actually, that just came out again on PC. So the name of it is Ghost Trick. It's by Capcom, I believe. Just got a re-release on PC. If you want to check it out, it's not just stuck on DS. I think that game was the first game that I realized, like, oh, you can have a really cool narrative in a game. When I played it, it was on DS. It's a story about this character. I already forgot his name. It's been so long. But he wakes up and he lost all his memories, right? And the game is going through scenarios and befriending people to try to get your memories back and find out the mystery of how you died, essentially. So it is kind of like a murder mystery, but you are the one murdered. So that's interesting. And it's called Ghost Trick because the gameplay is you're not really a character. You're the little spirit that goes around, possesses objects, and influences the environment. A lot of what happens is you actually influence the certain right thing, so it becomes like a Rube Joe. What's that thing? A Rube Goldberg machine, where a chain of events happens and sets off um, a chain of events happens, sets off the puzzle, and you defeat the level. So Ghost Trick on Nintendo DS, now on PC. Also my top three. So Ghost Trick, Overwatch/Overwatch 2, and Pokemon Black and White are my top three games. So Jordan, thank you for submitting that question. I'll save Jordan's other questions nearer to the end. And I'll make sure to get through all these questions that have been submitted. My second question is from Dayton Cahill. Dayton, if you're still in the live feed or live stream, please send hello. And everybody, please give Dayton a follow if you can. Dayton Cahill asked what my favorite artist and song is. So this one actually kind of came easy to me. I really like a band called the 1975. And that is a band that you might have heard of. They've gotten really popular over the last few years. Being the hipster myself, I actually saw them live in Victoria, BC in 2014 at a very small club. So the 1975, I've been a fan since almost day one. No, I'm joking. But I really like their music. I really like their sound. I think that the band is, they're a rock star. So there's a little bit of controversy around them. But their music is stellar. Like, I don't think there's too many other bands like it. My favorite song from them has to be It's Not Living If It's Not With You. I think just the lyrics. I usually don't listen to music for the lyrics. It's just passes over my head. But It's Not Living If It's Not With You has really cool lyrics that make you do another listen to, just for you to get all the meaning out of it. And it's a kind of happy-go-lucky song with a really dark past. So my favorite song and artist is the 1975, and favorite song, It's Not Living If It's Not With You. Queenie asks, what's my favorite protein? Honestly, my favorite protein is either the diesel powdered protein, just because there's no added like fats or sugars. It's just pure whey isolate, I think it's called. So diesel, but also protein is super expensive. But if I didn't have to pick a protein powder, it would probably just be like chicken breast with some spices, or like, what's that other thing? Oh, egg whites. Egg whites are pretty good because they're cheap. I think one thing that nobody talks about when working out is that a lot of food and supplements are so expensive. Like, talking like $150, maybe every other month expensive. So not cheap, not really. If people look really big, it's probably because they also spend a lot of money to look big, along with working hard. Hey, Lucas, welcome so much to the live stream. I hope you enjoy your stay. We are through a couple of questions. If you have a question, please submit it in the live chat. I should be able to see it. So thank you for tuning in. So I just answered my favorite protein. This one's a fun one. When am I coming for dinner? From Gabriella. Gabriella is a friend of mine. We went to school together for the same degree. And she asks when I'm coming for dinner. And my answer is whenever. Whenever we have time. Like, stuff has been so busy lately. And I'll kind of expand on that. I feel like my brain has been so full the past couple weeks in a way that I don't think my brain has been full before. Like, it just feels like if I'm not thinking of something, there is something to think about. And it's not in like a toxic way or a dangerous way. Like, I feel like it's not in a way that is overwhelming or anxious. I just feel like there's so much to do and I don't feel overwhelmed yet. Instead, I feel more like a drive or a challenge to organize my hours and my days better so that I am using my time optimally to get those things done. So my brain is very full. I'm still making sure I have time to like self-care. And I just got to work around that because things will pass. And if you have any self-care strategies, though, I would love to know. You can type that in the chat. I'll skip ahead to Lucas's question since he's live and jiving in the chat. Lucas asked what my favorite Pokemon is. My favorite Pokemon for a long time was Ranculus, which is that green jelly guy. I think he starts off as Solosis, which looks like a I'll be honest, it kind of looks like a butt. But then he evolves into Ranculus, which is like a cool jelly. Reminds me of like a character from Lilo and Stitch. However, excuse me, this Coca-Cola is making me burp. However, I am gonna change my answer now to uh, Trubbish. Trubbish, right? The little garbage bag guy. Um, I changed it to Trubbish just because he's so goofy. I can't believe they made a pile of garbage into like a cute monster. Uh, And then on top of that, the reason why I had trouble remembering Trubbish's name was that I always named it Garbaggio just because it was funnier in my head. So Trubbish slash Garbaggio is my favorite guy. Uh, a Gen 5 Pokemon, Lucas says. Yeah, you missed a little bit in the beginning, but when I was listening, my top three games, one of my top three games is Pokemon Black and White, not necessarily Black and White 2, the first one. And that is because that was when they did a soft reset on the series. And I found that very cool because it kind of gave me a little bit of nostalgia from the first time I played Pokemon. And I was slowly discovering every single new creature. Back then, I didn't look up any leaks or anything. So having that Gen 5, every Pokemon was new. There was no old Pokemon. I thought that was a really cool thing that they should do again, but there's so many Pokemon now. I understand why they won't. The trash Pokemon Gen 1ers will kill you for that. Well, you know what? I started in Gen 1, and I don't care what they think. Nah, I'm joking. So that was a big tangent from the question, when am I coming for dinner, Gabriella? Whenever we can make it happen, because I would love to have dinner with you and your family ASAP. And I really want to see your new Ninja, already forgot what it was called. She got this really cool Ninja slow cooker, like an Instant Pot, but it has like it's Instant Pot with compartments. It's a Ninja Frizzy or something. So I'm really excited to go check that out one day. Um, yeah, Lucas, that was really cool. So thanks. You like Gen 5 for that. That is kind of why I think Gen 5 is one of the essential Pokemon's games to play, along with Heart Gold and Soul Silver. That DS generation, it was just good overall. Queenie asks what my favorite board game is. Um, my favorite board game is tricky because I like games a lot in general. But if I had to choose one, if somebody went up to me at a party and said, like, Samson, bring out a board game, um, honestly, I think it would have to be a game called Anomia. And for those who are my friends who are listening, you are very familiar with that because we play that often once in a while. But Anomia is a game that challenges people's attentions, it challenges people's quick thinking, and there's a little bit of physicalness to it. And I'll explain what Anomia is. It's a card game where everybody flips a card at a certain time. Uh, if you flip a card and you match with somebody else's card on the board, you have to call out something from that person's category. Whoever is faster wins that card and gets a point, essentially. Um, Anomia is really cool because it can be played with people. There's a kids version as well. It can be played with people from like all backgrounds, all ages. One flaw is that the edition I have at least is very um, uh, American centered, like with some of the topics. But I really like the concept, and I've been meaning to go back to my cards and like changing the topics to stuff like people Canadians would know. So Anomia, if you have never played it, definitely worth playing. Check it out on YouTube. I'm sure you'll find it. Anomia. Lucas says it's crazy to think Gen X, so Pokemon Generation 10 is on the horizon, and that's true. And Pokemon is almost 30 years old as well, so there might be a 30-year Pokemon anniversary / Gen 10 reveal soon. I wonder what they'll do. They've been slowly pulling away from the original stuff, like there's no more Ash Ketchum anymore, and that storyline. So that'll be interesting. Kim asks, who has been your favorite guest on the show? Man, making me pick favorites when some of the guests are in the chat. So Kim, I would think that my favorite guests, I have so many, because I think part of it is I feel like the earlier guests also were really fun to talk to and had really good discussions. But I also feel that later on, as the podcast went, I think we're almost 20 episodes deep now. Later on, as the podcast went, I got better at being a host. So I was able to pull out specific topics and help them feel comfortable. and help them tell their stories more comfortably. So that's a little tricky. Although I would say my favorite guest on the show, uh, I would say it's split between two people, both not too games related. One would be Philip So. I think he's the newest episode. He is a really cool individual to speak to. Lots of spiritually aware, he's very spiritually aware of himself. He knows how to work hard and how to manage his day and refine his craft. And he's just a person who realizes his flaws and does things to work towards it. So Philip So, if you want to watch that, I believe I titled the episode "How to Find Balance" or something in content creation. It's the newest episode on at Grow Up Level Up on YouTube. My other favorite one would probably be Mizuho. We met many years ago actually in Instagram photography group. But then we've recently reconnected because now she is a content creator as a side job, but also works in content creation at creator.co. So it was really interesting to speak to her about how she views content creation, what that work is like, and what it's like networking and working with other, I know we called it influencers, but also content creators. She's also a big gym nut, which I'm really one as well. Except Mizuho eats correctly, so she's like super jacked and ripped. I need to eat better to make my gym time worth it. So Mizuho's episode was also really good. I think that Samantha Dowdell's episode is also really good. Coming from a child and youth background myself, or child and youth care background myself, it was really interesting to hear how she views teaching as someone who has also worked in similar child and youth environments as me. So Samantha Dowdell's episode is also really good, but I would say everyone's episode is really good. I think everybody had some value to bring based on their experiences, and that was kind of my sneaky goal with the podcast anyways. A, a little bit of history, I guess. I originally wanted to start the podcast because I feel like everybody has a cool story to tell and has a really cool uh has a really cool story to tell, has wisdom, and has like just a really cool life, and I want to highlight that. But that topic is a little too big. So what I instead spun it as is that, hey, let's talk about the games that helped us grow up or hobbies that helped us grow up. Plus, what the heck are you doing nowadays to take care of yourself? So that is kind of where Grow Up Level Up comes from. It is a podcast about not only about how we grew up and how we manage our day to day, but also how we choose to have fun today. At first, it started more video gamey. A lot of my guests are also from esports and game related places, but I'm trying to expand to like more hobbies. Another one I really like doing was Saffron's. She has been doing like a weekly vlog since almost like 3+ years now, almost 4 years, I guess. So Saffron's one is really good. And it's just like she vlogs week by week because it's her self-care. She doesn't do it to get big or make money or to replace her day job. It's just something she does as self-care. And it's a hobby that is honestly becoming a little more popular, like vlogging for herself. So Saffron's episode is also really good. She's great. One more question. Oh, you're welcome for answering your question. Thanks for asking. Thanks for chiming in. What are you drinking right now? I am drinking a Coca-Cola Coke Zero at this time of hour. I think I am slowly becoming addicted to this stuff because one, it's 0 calories, so that's good. But two, there's caffeine in it, which is not great for the evening time. But Coke Zero, I'm gonna have another sip. Okay, so second to last question is from Jordan. He asked me what my favorite brand of shoe is. Um, so for a long time, I was actually not a big shoe person. I would buy like the cheapest shoe. And then I bought my first pair of Ultra Boosts, and that kind of changed my life, I think. I remember buying my first pair, walking out of Sport Check, and then like my lower back pain disappeared, which was crazy. Ultra Boosts, but my favorite shoe is not Ultra Boost. It was just from that experience. I'm like, oh, I should probably be taking better care of my feet. My favorite brand of shoe is actually Crocs. I am a person that kind of values comfort and functionality over fashion, although you can argue Crocs are pretty fashionable now. Um, I really like Crocs because, yeah, they're comfy, they're colorful, and they stand out. They used to be cheap. Now they're not cheap anymore. But they're comfy. They look good in many different ways. And it's like a little bit of a statement piece. So I'm a really big fan of Crocs. So Crocs are my favorite brand of shoe, Jordan, and specific kind. Probably just a classic clog, nice and thick, so that it doesn't. It's good for my back, and you can wear it in pretty much like any weather, I guess. Last question, unless a few more come in, but I feel like we're at a good length. Last question, also from Jordan, and this is a question that I end all my guests with. If I had a bajillion dollars, a gajillion, and I wanted to give that to myself, I guess, and to fund any project, what would it be? Um, this is a interesting question and the reason why I ask guests this question is because, like, I wonder myself if I were able to um, sell a business or make a business that generates so much money that I have money to not throw away, but to use in more like venture, not venture capitalists, more charitable stuff like this, what would I do? I think it would go back to helping people who are in need. And I think that based on my experience and my education, it would be to help people that have been affected by trauma and to help stop that intergenerational trauma. And I know stop is a very strong statement because there is so much work to be done, not only on a micro level, like a personal level, uh, but also at a macro level, like with all our systems. So with all my money in the world, I would hope to do something around that. Um, Being more specific, I would love to start like a youth group or a youth club or just a safe space in a place in town that is not necessarily the safest for young people to go to play, be like a kid, to just like have those experiences that they might not get. I think one thing that a lot of people forget is that a lot of the kids that grow up, there are a lot of kids that grow up in poorer neighborhoods and poor like environments that might not get the chances like say kids that grew up in more affluent neighborhoods would get. So I would love to run a program that works around that. Now, the tricky thing is like the reason why there isn't so much money in all this is because these kind of programs don't generate revenue. Um, these kids don't have money. Their families might not have money to be able to give back to the programs that they're spitting out. So a lot of it is based on charity. So I guess if I also had $1 gajillion to work on this project, I would, I don't know, explore a way where uh, there could be a constant revenue stream that comes in that is not just reliant on government funding or charities or people's donations, right? Like, I think it is super important, like, not just to break the cycle of abuse and trauma and all that, or intergenerational trauma, but also it'll be better for society in a different way. Um, I know that is a very grand thing to assume. There's so much research for me to still do around that. And not just research, like talking to people working down in the field, like boots on the ground. Um, I think that would be my dream project is to open a space for people to come to and feel safe and have experiences that they might not get because of the neighborhood they're in or the community that they grew up in. I know there's one community in Vancouver. I wish I got the name Ravenclaw. Somewhere along Hastings, that is that community that runs program for kids, like before care, after school care for kids, so their families could work or attend to whatever appointments they need to attend to. And I think like that kind of space is more needed in more places, not just the neighborhoods that struggle, but also like all kinds of neighborhoods, just like a community center that is more encompassing than just running sports, right? Like that gives services to families. I guess some community centers do that. I shouldn't say that. But yeah, hopefully something like that in the future. So that is my dream project. That's a long-winded way Jordan of saying that I would love to make a super community center and put it in places that need it the most. And yeah, I think that's a great place to end the episode. Thank you for everybody still tuning in to the live stream. This is my first time doing this on Grow Up, Level Up, the podcast where we talk about the fun and games that helped us grow up, and really, I guess, just the ways we grow up as people and how things influence us. I guess one more thing I'll add about why I started Grow Up, Level Up is that I'm just fascinated about the way people grow up and the influences that go through each person from like baby to old age, all the different influences that end up shaping people into who they are and influencing their decisions and their places in life. So that always fascinated me. And that's kind of what this podcast is about as well. But thank you everyone for watching or listening on podcast. If you would like to watch more, check out at Grow Up Level Up on YouTube or on all the podcast services around the globe. If you liked what you listened to, leave a review, whether it's on YouTube or podcasts. And I've been posting more shorts on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. So if you enjoy short form content of clips of our episodes, please check those out, put in a comment, and check it out. Yeah. Thank you so much for checking it out. Kim, thanks for telling me to chase that dream, make it a reality. I will one day, once I make $1 bajillion, because unfortunately, this stuff takes money too. So thank you for tuning in. And yeah, follow me on at Grow Up Level Up on all the socials, at Samson XP on all the socials as well. And we'll be back next week for an episode based around the Overwatch League. Stay tuned on socials for that. But for now, this is the end of the first Ask Me Anything for at Grow Up Level Up. Thank you for tuning in. See ya.